Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Underneath the Hood. I'm Dave Martin, the owner of Martin's Auto Repair in Central Phoenix.
I'm Glen Hayward, the proud owner of Goodworks Auto Repair in sunny Tempe, Arizona.
And I'm Lee Weatherby with Accurate Automotive in the heart of Mesa.
And together, we represent 140 years of combined automotive experience.
Our goal is to change the perception of our auto repair industry by going behind the scenes and underneath the hood.
And we hope to share with you what it's like to own a small business and give you a perspective from an insider's point of view.
So let's get started. Hey, good morning, Lee. Good morning, Glenn. What's going on, guys?
Today is a spectacular day, as is every day.
As is every day.
Keep the right attitude.
You know what? I woke up on the right side of the dirt.
Attitude is everything.
I woke up today.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, big blessings. Big blessings.
Hey, and you know, as we age, you know, one of the things one of my clients had told me, she's like 85 years old, and she said, if I wake up in the morning and don't have any pain, I'm probably dead.
Hey, you know what? I got to tell you.
And, you know, probably true.
Yeah, she's got a point. That's why I say, you know what? First thing you do, you wake up, you got to get a smile on your face.
And she's so funny because she told
Hit
me,
your knees
she said, golden,
be grateful.
She said, golden years my butt. She says, your social life consists of going to doctors and talking to nurses and doctors.
Well,
so
I'm gonna add mine.
I could wake up without that outlook.
I wake up in the morning and I look at my wife and I say, "It's a great day."
There we go. Wow. You know what?
And
you
then
are
she
a brown noser.
I know.
I mean, what the heck? Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
When was the last time you said that?
This morning.
Oh, good. Now that was the right answer.
Yeah. That's only because his wife's got a frying pan sitting next to the bed. If he doesn't do that, he gets whacked with it.
Well, she's here, so.
So, all right, Glenn, why don't you give us? Well, first of all, I want to say that if you like our podcast, please subscribe. We would love to have you as a subscriber. And Glenn,
it's free.
How could they not like our podcast? I mean, come on. Look at the handsome devils that you guys got here. I mean, listen, I like to be here because I get to be surrounded by
at least one of us. We won't say which one.
Pick. Okay.
So why don't you give us a day in history, Glenn?
On this day in history, in automotive history, on December 16th, 1949, which is a little bit before I was born, the first Saab passenger car, the Saab 92, began production.
Saab,
S-A-A-B, Saab. That's what happens after you drive one for a while. You start sobbing.
Wow.
It began production in Trollhättan, Sweden. Okay, Trollhättan. The Saab 92 was the first production car from Saab, and this design was very aerodynamic for its time, with a drag coefficient of 0.030, which was an incredible feat for its time. So it wasn't a big boxy car that had a lot of wind drag. So. And I don't know if they cared about fuel economy back then, but they definitely wanted, to get the show on the road and go speedy.
You know, Saab is from the aeronautics industry. I mean,
yes.
That's what they are really known for, in building the motors and stuff like that for airliners and airplanes and things of that nature. So it doesn't really surprise me that they would, fall in that dynamic. But I mean, listen, to be that far ahead in when did you say this was? December?
1949.
Wow. It's just so fantastic to see how things develop to what we now have today, and kind of some
innovation in the technology. Absolutely, yeah.
And some of the things we maybe just kind of take for granted.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Wright brothers deal. I mean, there was of course, it was the deal where everyone was trying to build the first flying machine, right? And so the Wright brothers were the actual first ones to have a successful flight. It was only a few hundred yards, but they made it happen. But all of the work and design and techniques and everything that they had to do to not just build the motor, but to make the thing get up into the air and to be able to control it and not crash it like many did. Many people died trying to do.
Well, I was just going to say, and if you lived through that innovation, that was pretty good.
I'm a survivor.
And that's just it. Sometimes I think we get lost in thinking it's got to be, this big, gigantic feat. Whereas, you say a few hundred yards. I mean, that really set that industry on track to go ahead, because of the things that were
everyone believed it was possible from there on.
Well, impossible. Well, you couldn't do it. Nobody can do it. You can't get it done. And you know what they said? Hogwash. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Innovation. And there's certain people out there that have that mind and have that ability to be able to just to never quit and just keep doing it.
And even though this has nothing to do with our topic today,
Yeah.
I saw something this week that just cracked me up. I was reading it.
We do a lot of things that are
It
off
was,
topic.
yeah.
so-
Well, it was talking about, there was a list of things that if you've ever experienced this or this or this or this, keep a score. All right. And I think there was 20 things on the list. One of them is if you've ever, played a vinyl record, and if you've ever, heard something off of
Hey,
a
vinyl's
CD.
coming back, man.
Oh, I know. If you've ever used a typewriter, I was like, wow. I had all 20. I was thinking, wow, this is pretty awesome.
No, you're old. You're old. You're old.
That was just
old.
That was the moral of the story. Is that,
and I can't believe you called yourself out on that
You
deal.
are an old fart. And I was like, whoa, I got sucked into that, man.
Yeah.
I guess the best score was 0, and I had 20.
Yeah. You're.
I'm really up there.
So why don't you give us the quote of the day?
I will. And you know what? This I really am kind of excited about our topic today because it has to do with fleets and fleet business and how that really moves everything that we're doing around us. But I think this is very apropos, and I love this. And this was from Ferdinand Porsche, and once again another innovator. Okay, but this is the real key because I want you to think how this applies to you and your business, but even to us in our shops. You know what I mean? But even in just your everyday life. Okay, change is easy, right? Sure. Improvement is far more difficult. That's prophetic. I mean, it's just fascinating that, change isn't easy. I don't believe that for 1 second, but it is easier than the improvement part.
Changes.
I can tell you that.
Change can be just throwing something away and just trying something different.
Well, I think change is just uncomfortable. And once we get in our comfort zone, it's the unknown. But once we get in a comfort zone, we stop growing. Yeah. And so that's the thing that I preach to my daughter, to the younger people that work for me, is change is not easy. And you nailed it right there. The thing of it is it change is hard, but the thing of it is it's uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, you're growing. But that's important.
You know what? I've heard a saying one time that said, if you're changing, you have opportunity to exceed any expectation you have set for yourself.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, whoa, don't let that one get by me. You know what I mean? If you're willing to change.
I like it.
Right. And when people tell you, we were talking about the Wright brothers, people said you can't do that. You can't do that. Well, basically what they're telling you is what they can't do, not what you can't do.
Yeah. It's there. Oh, amen.
You need to shut those people out of your life.
Right.
That was very well said.
Yeah. And so the important thing is that you've got to figure out your own boundaries. You got to figure out what you can do and what you can't do. And
I happened to be watching a movie last night. It was Top Gun Maverick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said something in there that I thought was really apropos. He was telling, basically explaining how these people have been told all their lives that they're the best, they do this, and all of it, but they've never done this one thing. Wright brothers, flight, get it off the ground. I don't care if it's 10 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet. I mean, let's go back to the Spruce Goose. You know what I mean? He only had to get that thing up in the air, and he did it for one reason, one purpose only, and that was so he could get paid, on the job. But the key to it was everybody had all the chips stacked against him. And you know what? He still made it happen. And the simple reason was determination, will, achievement. And you know what? That never give up attitude. And I'll tell you what, that's what it takes to drive us forward, is that, you've got to be able to, like you said, if you could live through,
absolutely.
Things,
well, and the thing of it is I always, one of the things that I really believe is I believe you never really fail unless you quit.
Yeah,
and if
amen.
you
that's
quit,
the only way you can
fail.
fail.
That's the only way you really fail.
That's right.
And you know what?
That's right.
You got to get up every day and you just got to do, you got to try harder.
And
if today wasn't
we
a
got to
complete
make a
success,
change.
you
Just
got to
make a little change.
Yeah,
but it could be a
grow.
small tweak. That's the other thing. I'm always telling our customers, our guys, it's not major overhauls that make the difference. It's always small tweaks.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, and now that I'm so motivated because of all the talk that we've had about motivation, so now I'm motivated. So I want to let you guys know that here, we got to get into this topic, guys.
All right, let's do it.
We're talking about fleets here now, right? And according to Google Gemini, we say that 6 times, based
Google
on
Gemini,
sales
Google
data.
Gemini, Google Gemini.
Oh, I didn't mean that literally,
got
Glenn.
the 3.
Glenn,
Okay.
Glenn, chill out.
It was rhetorical.
But based on sales data from Google Gemini, and fleets in the U.S. market today, the most popular make and model in fleets in commercial sector.
I bet you I could guess.
So I want to. What do you think? Give me your guess.
I would guess that it's a Ford product, because a truck specifically.
I agree.
Okay, so both of you are correct for the first time in your life. I'll write that on the calendar and I'll send it to your wife that you were actually right. So F1
record that
series, F series trucks. Yeah, you were. Yeah, your wife is going to be so surprised. But the F series truck.
Which is a pickup truck, by the way, for those of you who aren't familiar.
Yeah. It's anywhere from a half ton to a 1 ton to
3/4 ton.
Yeah.
We got a 550 in the shop right now.
Yeah. So 550. Yeah, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
And so Ford Pro announced that it has over 5 million connected commercial vehicles in operation today.
Wow.
Okay. So we all work on fleets. And that's kind of a part of our business, right?
Absolutely.
And it's
big part.
It is a big part because those vehicles are out, they're workhorses, right?
They are constantly on the
go. Right.
We
got the soccer mom and we've got the workhorses of vehicles that go out and actually, do your landscaping. They do so many
heating, air conditioning, refrigeration,
air conditioning, plumbing, pest control. Yeah. They're doing it all.
Right. And so we all rely on them to come out and fix our things.
And they rely on us to keep them on the road.
Right.
And the biggest thing is, it's exactly right, Glenn. I agree with you wholeheartedly. They are relying on us, and that means we've got to really put our best foot forward because, to your point, it's a cash box on wheels for them. Because the reality of it is the fleets are what is coming to all of us. I mean, we're calling them to say, hey, listen, I need you to come help me with this, or I need you to come help me with that, or I need this, and when can you get out here? And you know what? They are literally on the go because we're not the only one that's calling. You know what I mean?
I'm going to bring up a very important point, and that is the owners of these vehicles are not the drivers of these vehicles.
Oh boy.
And man, I tell you what, these guys drive them like they stole them.
Yeah.
They beat them up.
Unfortunately,
mechanically.
And I'm going to say this because this is a very apropos point that you're making, and that is this. The people that own them, they only pay for them to keep them repaired and on the road and keep them safe. But the guys that are driving them, in most cases, they're not even thinking along the terms of, man, this is my tool. This is part of my equipment.
They're not paying for the fuel. They're not paying for the maintenance.
Yeah.
They're not paying for the repairs.
And I need to keep this thing up so that I can be responsive to my clients.
I think if we haven't already started doing this in some places, we need to start doing is going in a meeting, in a company meeting, and tell these
driver
guys,
meetings.
Yeah, make sure that they understand how to take care of this vehicle, whether that goes over their head or they don't carry in one ear and out the other. Well, the
thing is, we give them little driver checklists. You know what I mean? And we give these to the fleet manager.
Yeah.
So as soon as we go in, we discuss what the availability options are for fleets and what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and kind of get all the ground foundation laid. But then we ask for an opportunity to take 10, 15 minutes to talk to their employees. All right. It's generally not something that's set aside. It's something that they're already going to be doing when they're having a meeting. And all we do is come in and we introduce just a simple concept. And that is, hey, you know what? Here's a little check sheet that you guys can utilize.
Well, it's no different than our kids, right?
Absolutely.
The thing of it is what about TV dad, right? Yeah. TV dad tells your kids
smartest guy on the planet.
Yeah, smartest guy on the planet, right? Well, and so I've done the same thing, Lee. I went into some of the fleets that we've had, and I've talked to because the fleet manager says, hey, they're not listening to me anymore. You know what? I'm dad and nobody's listening to me, right? Yeah. So what happens is they ask me to go in and basically say the same things that they've been saying and give them a little bit different perspective.
Hey, why didn't you tell me that?
Yeah, right. All of a sudden now I'm a genius and he's dad. So and it's the same thing with our kids. I mean, my daughter will tell me, so and so said this, and I go, yeah, I've been saying that for the last 25 years, and
Dad.
But yeah. No, I don't remember that. No, because you tuned me out like 25 years ago. Anyway, so the point being is that yes, we love to do that kind of stuff because it's education. It's helping the fleets, number one, help us, because there's nothing more. And we all say this in our business. People think that we love broken down vehicles. We really don't. No. The thing of it is our business is based. We like to schedule you in for your service work. We like to schedule in for your repairs. So we basically have a plan to basically get through the week to where we don't have to stress out and go crazy, and you're not stressed out and going crazy. So
we call them sleepovers. We don't like to have sleepovers.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a really good way to say that. And so the thing of it is when cars break down, it turns into basically a fire sale at our shops. Now we're not basically, our business is not schedule based business anymore. Now it's a reactive
mayhem and
business.
chaos.
Yeah. And so
proactive versus reactive.
Right, because in fleets, we all know this, that those fleet vehicles have tools on them, they have equipment on them, they have things on them. It's not like we can get them a rental car or a loaner car to drive because it does them no good because they have no tools.
There's an urgency and a priority that has to follow that.
So we have to run those vehicles in, we have to get them taken care of, and we have to get them out the door as quick as possible.
And unfortunately, the owners of those businesses think that their vehicle's the most important one that you need to work on.
And they are to them.
It is to them.
And they are to them.
I know, but when you have 15 fleet vehicles sitting in it from different companies, and they all feel that way, the pressure on the service advisors,
absolutely,
and the checks,
this is why.
But then again, this all boils down, and this is one of the most important things, because guys, and I want to make sure that we don't forget this. We have a thing in our business called family fleet. Okay, these are people that don't necessarily, maybe they don't have a plumbing company, or they don't have an air conditioning company, they don't have a pest control company,
but they're bringing you 5 cars.
They have 5 or 6 vehicles in their home fleet. We call that our family fleets. You know what I mean? And they're doing things as well where they need to have their tool, to be sharp and effective and reliable. Yeah. And so the key to it is it's all about good communication. Let's face it. Everything in our business is about good communication with the client at the counter, good communication and understanding of what it is that we're going to be looking at and how long they'd like to keep it, about the things that we've monitored, about the things that we're going to be checking, and about what the desired outcome is. So in other words, how long would you like to keep this vehicle? How long do you want this to go? What is the plan for this? Are you going to rotate this out next year? Are you going to rotate this out in 2 or 3? By having that information, it truly allows us to become partners, where it really gets very clear as to what it is that we want to recommend so that we can move forward, so we don't get any backups in the bays like you're talking about.
Right. And the thing of it, and this is why we do the digital vehicle inspection. This is why we look over the whole vehicle. And I know you guys probably feel the same way I do about this. I do not like a vehicle that we've been servicing on a regular basis on the back of a tow truck.
Nope.
It's embarrassing to me. I hate it with a passion. Nope. Now, that being said, we all know that we don't have
crystal
balls, or basically we're not psychics or whatever.
Yeah.
So we don't, there's things that are still going to happen, but
there's things that are out of our control.
But if we can minimize that as much as possible, by doing those digital vehicle inspections.
I totally agree.
Control the things you can control.
And that's one of the things that we strive for. I had a fleet, and I'll tell you a quick story. I had a fleet coming to me and said that we're dealing with this person. They give us free tows. And she said, we want to switch to another vendor, another person that can help us with our service on our vehicles. But we need to know, will you give us free tows? So my question to her was,
sure, give me your foot.
Well, yeah, not that kind of tow, Glenn.
Okay.
I'll draw you pictures later. I'll get the crayons out. I said to her, well, how many times are you getting your vehicles towed on a regular basis? She said, yeah, at least a couple times a week, their vehicles are getting towed. And I said, well, there's your problem. I said, you don't need free tows. You need somebody to keep you from getting towed, because
you need a new service center.
Because when we're talking about fleets, okay, that person that you're paying to drive that vehicle is broken down on the side of the road. You're not only having a vehicle problem, but now you're paying an employee to sit on the side of the road
and a revenue deficit because he's not making you any money.
He's not making you any. It's exactly what I.
But it goes so much further than that.
Whammy.
It goes so much further than that, because now you have let down a client. You know what I mean? Who is expecting
right.
To have this done.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that is there at 10 and they don't get there till the next day.
Right. When you
or the 2 days later, whatever.
When you sit down and figure out the cost of that tow,
it's brutal.
It's brutal. And so the thing of it is the most important thing is that free tows are not going to solve your problem.
We call those events. So for just like you said, proactive, reactive. That is why we do, to your point, the digital inspections. So what we can do is we can look and see and kind of evaluate what's coming. Cars, as silly as this is going to sound, I don't want you to think I'm, lost my noodle here, but
we know you have.
Cars
that was a long time ago.
Cars speak to you. You know what I mean? If you literally will evaluate them, look at them for what they
The
are.
vehicle whisperer.
They literally will tell you what they have coming. You know what I mean? You can see it. The writing's on the wall. You know that, you know what I mean? You're going to need tires here. You know that the brakes are coming up soon here. You can see that there's a little looseness in a ball joint or something of that nature. You can read the tread wear on the tire and know that alignment's required. I mean, there are things that you can just see and you can kind of predict and prepare for. All right. Now there's other things that you can't. I mean, we don't have any idea, you know, when a fuel pump's going to fail.
Yeah.
We don't have any idea,
Or a water
you know what I mean,
pump or
when a water
anything.
pump's going to go out. You know what I mean? We know if there's a belt that's, you know,
or
chirping
some sensor on the vehicle is going to age out. And,
yeah, exactly. It's like a light bulb.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've used this example 1,000 times.
Yeah, light bulb. I use that all the time
I mean,
too.
I was the last guy in the bathroom last night. You know what I mean? And the light was on, and I shaved, I brushed my teeth, I had everything just right, and I shut the switch off. Now I know, you know, my wife didn't get up in the middle of the night and turn the light on. But you know what? The next morning I went and I hit that button and the doggone light wouldn't illuminate. And I'm thinking, what happened? You know what I mean? We lose electricity. I'm pushing the little button, you know, the reset for the bathroom thing. And it's like, come on. And all of a sudden, bad bulb. Why? Well, it's just like parts. They're not built to last forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
How did
so
you shut
things
off the
will
light
happen.
though? That's what I want to know. I mean, did you have your tongue kind of off to the side when you push the button? Because sometimes that helps.
It does. You hold your mouth just right.
I leaned
You were
into it.
definitely
I
not-
leaned into it.
You were definitely not a light whisperer. but you're to your point, you're 100% right. There is signs that we see on vehicles when we look underneath them.
You bet.
And we have trained technicians that can do anything on your vehicle.
You bet.
They can fix all of it, and they know what they're looking for.
And they need to do all of it.
And they need to do all of it, right? And we know what we're looking for. So we want to make sure that you are not on the back of a tow truck, because you just created a whole nother issue for my shop when your car is on the back of a tow truck, because I need to get you in and out because your vehicle's down. And you have
Priority
tools.
now.
And right now it's a priority, and now it just turns into a chaos, like
bet.
Glen said.
Right, and the frequency of visits, if you have a diesel vehicle, you can go 10 or 15,000 miles between oil changes.
No, you can't do that. See, we don't allow that at all ever.
They do.
They do that, but you know what? That means they're not going to keep their fleets very long. They're rotating them through too fast, because I don't care what anybody says. I don't even care what the manufacturers say, because in my opinion, the manufacturer trying to sell you cars, that's what their job is. The truth of the matter is, if you're going anywhere beyond 5,000 miles on an oil change, and I don't care what kind of oil you're using, you're going way too far. You're actually tearing up your motor. And I understand that the book says, well, I can go 10,000 miles or I can go 15,000 miles. BMW had it written in their manual.
Yeah.
But the key to it is read the doggone manual, because it's 60,000, all of a sudden change over and says, oh, by the way, you should probably, if you want to preserve the life of your vehicle, you know, you should probably start changing it every 6,000.
Well, conversely, I just want to say on the heavy duty diesel trucks, they hold 12 to 15 quarts of oil. So
I don't care. The oil still wears out, because the filter can only take so much. Yeah, it's huge, but once it's full, it's full.
It's 3 times, 5 times bigger than often.
We can have the oil debate
right.
on another podcast, but one of the things that, and you brought up a really good point, the thing of it is you just don't want them to go too long between oil changes before you look over the vehicle, because that's the most important part. This is what we're trying to, you know, beat home is that vehicle needs to be looked over, and that vehicle needs to be looked over on a regular basis. That way, if there is something that's popping up.
We start out the podcast because they're what? Workhorses.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? Those vehicles need to be seen on a monthly basis, on a rotation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to get them in, make a plan of action. If you don't have a plan of action, that's kind of what we're here for. We help you maintain your vehicle and your fleets so that we can make a plan of action so that you can follow, make it real easy. Schedule it in, get the things done, find out what you've got, and it becomes quick, easy, and efficient.
And we'll help you with that. And
that's absolutely what we do.
Every one of us here knows when we got a fleet manager that comes to us and says, hey, I've got 10 vehicles. What can you do for us? Well, we have a system and we have a plan in place that we want to make sure that we don't leave any stone unturned, that we don't get any of those vehicles out of that 10. We don't get 2 of them that get missed.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we stay on top of those things.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you this, and this is one of the things that I hope that people that will hear this, that are listening, and even if you're a fleet manager, that you're really paying attention to this. You know, we all have technicians that like to have things a little bit different maybe than the other technician. We all have guys in our fleet that they live a little bit further out than another guy. And so it was convenient, you know what I mean, to go over here
And
instead
then
of go
here.
here. And the reality of it is you've just now lost, all right, that cohesive bond that you have, because what happened over here, you can't account for what they did or didn't look at.
Right.
You don't know whether they pulled into a quick lube center or whether they pulled into a full service automotive repair center. You see what I mean? And there is a difference. And there is a difference in quality. There's a difference in service.
Absolutely is.
And there's also a
So
big
Glen,
difference in communication.
Glenn, you have a fair amount of fleets. I mean, you probably got more. I know you got more than I do. But one of the things that, what are like 3 things you tell your fleets that your service and what you guys do at your shop that basically gives them longevity for their fleets?
Well, first off is the digital inspection, which all 3 of us do, and it applies to regular passenger cars. It applies just as much, if not more so, with fleets, because there's so many other components on fleet vehicles that other vehicles may not have. Special lighting and lifts, lift gates, hydraulic things. All kinds
Booms
of
in
stuff.
the back. Yeah.
And it's really important to check all of that stuff while it's there, because if there's something that's going to make it inoperational, then the vehicle is worthless to them. If they can't carry out the work that truck was built for, like he mentioned, booms and buckets on them, and for people doing lighting and electrical stuff. So you have to tailor each one, each fleet and their fleet itself, because they're all different kinds of vehicles. Not all of them have just one brand or one type of vehicle. They're all different. So
There's 5 million Fords, but they're not all F-150s.
Well, and to your point, though, I mean, I'm sure you want to know how long are you going to keep the vehicle? What do you do with that vehicle? So you tailor each one of those fleets to based off of that, right?
Dave, let me answer that question, because we have one of the unique things we do. It's called rapid repair assessment. So in other words, for a fleet manager that has a vehicle, let's say they have an event, a breakdown, vehicle gets towed in within the first 2 hours. We take a look and observe that vehicle to find out whether is that a major problem, a minor problem, something we're going to be able to turn out, in a day, an hour, or if it's going to be a week. And you know what? We call back within a couple of hours after the vehicle gets there, and we let them know, hey, listen, we're going to have this for overnight. We're going to have this till the end of the week, or we're going to have this, maybe for a month. Can't
also,
tell them how much it's going to cost you.
Right. Another factor too is parts availability. We're still struggling in that realm. All the shops are, even dealerships are
especially
struggling
nowadays, guys.
It's crazy. I mean, sometimes we're ready
Tariffs
to do
are
a
real.
job. We've got it torn down, and we're waiting for 3, 4, 5 days or more just to get the parts for it.
Yeah.
And none of us here install cheap parts. We get the best quality stuff that's out there.
We're picky. We're picky about what we put on the cars, because
we're responsible for the end
right.
result.
Yeah, absolutely. And
ultimately,
if we're putting cheap, crappy parts on the car and it breaks down, that just look bad on us.
It boils down to this, Dave. I got your back.
Yeah.
Okay, I got your back, and that's just it. I can't have your back if I'm going to, use this part, but I can have your back if I'm going to use that one. And I understand this one's available. There's a reason why it's available. This one's not available. There's a reason why. I'm waiting for this one.
Yeah. And one thing that all of us offer is a warranty that goes way further than the dealers.
You bet.
They're 12 months, 12,000
Period.
miles.
Oh, and they're adamant about it.
Yeah. And I'm 336 with fleets, and I'm 560 with regular passenger cars.
Some of the things we're lifetime. Some of the things we're actually lifetime. Yeah.
Well, guys, guess what? It's been another great podcast. I really, we got to kind of wrap this thing up, but it's been great. And I the fleets are a big part of our business, and we do love the fleets, and we want to keep you on the road and want to make sure that you guys are successful in your business. So we're here for you.
Well, and I'd like to invite all the families, you know what I mean, too, because you're a family fleet.
The family fleet. Yep. Yeah. Some people got some big families.
They
That's
do.
for sure.
Well,
yeah.
And listen, make sure you're picking a quality repair shop that cares about you, that will have your back, all right? And then will also follow up and communicate, you know what I mean, the way that you need it, because that's the important piece. All of the stuff that we do is going to be automatic. You're going to get it no matter what. But the communication, that's going to be the critical piece that you really want to put, and judge how well am I being communicated with, and is it the way I like to receive it? Because we all know that's different for different folks.
And this is a December podcast, so we want to wish all of you an incredibly great holiday season with your family, your loved ones, your friends. Don't drink and drive. Be sensible. A lot of that kind of stuff happens, and there's probably more DUIs and accidents as a result of that during the holiday season.
Yeah, leave that stuff alone.
Yeah.
Or if you do drink and you do enjoy the holiday spirit, stay at home.
Yeah, either stay at
or
home
or
get Uber,
designated driver, Waymo, whatever they got going on now. But all right, guys. Hey, well, thanks. And if you really like the podcast, please subscribe. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. And thanks for watching.
We appreciate your
patronage.
Be
good. Thank you.
Bye.